Alright, time for another training log video, and this is yet again a long video. You are all crazy and said you wanted all the footage left in there for whatever reason, and I just wanted to remind you, Glenn and I typically work out for 2 to 4 hours. We do a lot of stuff. I never record any warm-ups. I don't record a lot of the very light things we do, band warm-ups, things like that. So trying to keep this short as I can. You see Glenn here, first set, he wanted to try no belt, and he wanted to up the weight. His plan was to do 6 sets of 3 at 155 pounds, which was very ambitious. You can see here on the second set, he's got the belt on. He's still pretty unstable. One of the big keys here is keeping that lower body stable. You can see the second rep looked really good as opposed to the first rep, and that was true of his first set as well. But this third one, he just wasn't able to get it up there high enough. Now me, I was not feeling that great today, but I was feeling really ambitious. So I started with 175 for a triple, and I decided to myself I really wanted to see if today was going to be the day that I could get 210. And we'll be talking about that a little bit more in a couple of sets here. We took the weight back down for Glenn, put it to 145. You'll notice he's still keeping the belt on, and I think he's just not comfortable yet at this point without having the belt. It is a lot of discomfort with the scar tissue still, and it's, I think, a little bit too much at once, especially because his legs are so sore from all of the lower body work we've been doing, and he's accelerating that very quickly. So this is the last set I want to do before my ambitiousness, and if you watch the set, look how much trouble I'm having with 195, and any sane person would have saw me doing this and said, you're not going to get 210, but I just wanted to try anyways. Glenn here with his fourth set now, staying down at 145, just trying to get some reps in there and some hypertrophy. So the week before he did 135 for 5x5, and today, you know, we did go a little bit heavier with 155, then we dropped it down to 145. So he's still trying to get 5, or in some cases a little bit more than 5 reps, and he's going to do 6 sets. So really good workout thus far for Glenn. Here is my very, very bad idea to try 210. You can see it just was not going up at all. So really kind of a wasted effort for me. I should have just went all out on 195 when I had a chance. Glenn now with his 5th set, and he really was convinced that he was only going to have to do 5 sets because, you know, 6x3 would have amounted to 18 reps, whereas 5x5 is 25. So he was thinking, yeah, he doesn't have to do all of these reps because he did a couple sets with more than 5, couple with 5, and the heavy ones. But remember, you guys all counted and said he did 9 reps, and he told me he did 10 on that preacher curl, where this is where the tax starts. Now this I put in here, this is hilarious. I wanted to go back to 195. Look at what a terrible grinder that was. So that 210 attempt, even though it didn't look like it took a lot out of me and it was really fast, it really did. I am feeling all sorts of beat up. But this is the first set of tax for Glenn, and I will be taxing him a little bit more because we don't skip reps. We don't skip reps, and if we do skip reps, we definitely don't claim that we got more reps than we did and argue with the person counting. So here's his last set, and I think he's still kind of cheating me on reps there. And I decided I was going to try one more set at 175, and you can see there my triceps just kind of are failing me. I'm not having any problem from the bottom to the top of my head, which used to be where all of the struggle was for me, and all my problems are in the lockout. So what we decided to do is something we have not done in a long time, and these are a lot of fun, and it lets you use a lot of weight. So if you just want to do something really fun, I recommend these. You notice we're using the log, and we have the pins set up. We are doing a dead stop lockout for the overhead. And now, of course, we are using the back support, so it's not a true overhead motion. But because of where we have this set up, where the head is just under the log, this is actually where you would initiate the arm movement after you've done a really good drive with your legs. So after you push press or you do a jerk motion, you're going to finish the top of the log with your triceps. So this is really awesome for working the triceps. You can do it heavy, you can get a lot of reps in, and it's really safe because you've got the pin set up the whole time. It is kind of loud though. No matter how hard you try and slow down the pins, it's still gonna make a nice noise. And here's me. Move the camera angle a little bit. I actually decided to do 185 pounds, and it looks like the same weight. Instead of throwing a 45 on there and then having to take a 45 off every time for a Glenn set, we just decided to throw two 25s on each side for me, so made it easy to change weights between this. But again, just allows you to get a lot of reps, a lot of really good tricep work in there. Plus it's fun to play with the log. It's something that a lot of people never get to experience, is changing their hand grip. When you're using a barbell all the time, you're always doing that pronated or supinated grip, depending on if you're doing a curling or a pressing motion, but you never get to have your hands in a neutral position where your thumb is facing up towards your bicep, kind of like a hammer curl. And the log allows you to do that because that's how the handles are set up. So not only is it a awesome movement doing the tricep lockout, but it's hitting a different angle. I personally feel a lot stronger in this position. It allows me to drive a lot harder, and that's why I think most people can press more with a log than they can with a barbell, assuming they can figure out how to clean it and how to breathe with it on your chest. That is the other thing that's nice about doing this on the pins, is you can actually breathe. Those of you who have not actually done a log press, let me tell you, when you put a heavy log up on top of your chest, it is pressing down on your rib cage, and it makes it very challenging to breathe, and you're trying really hard not to breathe too much because then you lose your tightness and you can get in a bad position. The log can roll down, all sorts of bad things. And actually really cool, Brian Shaw just did a video on Super Training, Mark Bell's channel, on how to log press. So if you're curious on how to do an actual log press from Brian Shaw, World's Strongest Man, I recommend that you go check it out. And I will probably even put a link down below in the description for those of you who are paying attention to what's going on right now. So Glenn's doing 155 pounds here, and he decided he wasn't going to be quite as ambitious as me, wanted to get reps in and not focus on the top of the weight. I am just beating my triceps against a wall because I am so irritated that my triceps have become my weak point. I never thought that that would happen to me, and between taking all that time off for benching, the rotator cuff, it's really getting at me. So you'll notice we're doing a lot of different accessory work to work on the lockout and the tricep motion. Glenn here on this last rep just did not have it in him. And I put 225 on there. This is the most I've actually done on a seated log, and I have done that push press. That is my max. I believe I've done it for 2 or 3. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it felt really nice to put 225 on the bar, even if I'm not holding it on top of myself and doing a true log press. But at least I got a couple of reps in before I failed miserably. And Glenn decided after watching me be awesome and do 225, he wanted to up the weight here for his last set. And he just threw on an extra 10 on each side, brought it up to 175. And he's got some good speed there, no problem on those first couple of reps. And all of a sudden he hit a wall.
So much harder. Okay, all right.
Breathe again.
and he was just done. There was no way that that was going to move after that point. He did give it another shot, but he was done. And I decided I wanted to do a back offset, dropped it down to 155 just to get some reps in there. And this felt pretty good. I was disappointed in how many reps I got, but at this point, between failing at 210 on the overhead and putting a lot of weight on the log, my triceps were pretty done. And even though this isn't a direct mover, my deltoids, especially the anterior, the front of my shoulder, was really feeling it in this workout. And I'm hoping good things will come from this. I'm really hoping that, especially once we get back into strongman training, getting the log press going will finally happen. I really need to be able to press 255 for at least a couple reps to be able to compete at lightweight / middleweight and strongman. And based on where my strict press is, I really should be close to that right now. I did have the ankle issues, which cost me quite a bit of leg drive, but as you saw, I'm back to Chuck Taylor's on the squat, so I'm hoping that gained ankle mobility will allow me to, with these the raised platform shoes, the squat shoes I'm using for log, to actually get my leg drive back. And if I can get my leg drive back, I think that good things will happen when we get to the competition or even the training with the log press. And we haven't been doing cleans with the barbell. I'm not sure when we're going to start that back up, but obviously we're going to have to get some practice in that, although the continental clean is what we do. Now I'm going to fast forward some of these sets, but I wanted to leave a couple of actual timed footage in here so that you could see what we're trying to do. This is one of the things Glenn and I really haven't done very much of. We've been experimenting over the last week and the next couple of weeks on this time under tension principle. So this is something that bodybuilders use, obviously, and we're trying to do a 3 down, 2 hold, 3 back up, and then once we can't go down slow, we'll go down fast, try and hold it for 2, and then go back up. And you can see as the set progresses, this gets a lot more difficult. So any of you who have been focused purely on the strength side of things, kind of like Glenn and I encourage you to just give this a shot. It's not something you need to do all the time, but just see how it goes for you. Get a little bit of different training stimulus. I was very sore after this, but during the workout, I got such a huge pump. This was my forearms from holding on to the bar that long. It was in my rear delts, my biceps, which probably shouldn't have used them as much as I did, but I used my biceps. And that's why I don't do curls, because I get it with the rows, right? And actually started feeling it in my lats towards the end of the sets. And you can see Glenn and I are just going back and forth. So there is only the rest between your partner going and when you go again. So keeping those rest intervals really low, that's something that we've been trying to do as much as possible, as I mentioned in the last video. It is something that will definitely improve the cardiovascular capabilities, especially when we're going to be competing. And it's also secretly one of my ideas to try and help my weight loss goals. Keeping that heart rate up will allow me to actually drop down a few pounds, hopefully. We'll see how that plays out. And another thing I wanted to point out about these pull-down sets is that we are trying to hit all sorts of different grips. So you've got the super wide, you've got where you would go for a traditional pull-up, then we end up twisting hands the other side of the bar, and we do a narrow grip there, almost like you would do your traditional chin-up with your palms facing you. And then we actually tried for the first time doing a very wide grip pull down with that same grip. And as you can see, each one of these sets, we're getting progressively less reps. And this was something that we really didn't have oh, you have to get this many reps in there. We did lower the weight, as you saw, midway through the workout, because it was just getting too hard. We weren't getting any reps at all. But it was just go until you fail. Get those muscles, as much stimulus as you can. And here's, like I said, that different grip. And now this is at ×2 speed. I figured I would mention that. So you can see we're still getting that slow down, slow up, even though you can see we're moving faster due to the camera speed. It's still very challenging to hold that. And the last couple of reps in the set, it's down fast, and can you even hold it and resist it on the way back up? And it was a very interesting experience. I don't think that it's something that I necessarily want to do every week, but at least every once in a while, especially in the back. Back is one of those areas where I think both Glenn and I could work on a lot more. And as all of you should know, when a muscle gets bigger, it has the potential to be stronger. So right now, as we're pretty far out from any sort of competition, getting some size in there so that we can make it stronger would be awesome. And this is the last part of the workout, and we decided to do dumbbell rows. And you can see there, we're going same time. I'm having a little bit of grip issue. As I mentioned, my forearms were really getting a good workout from the pull-downs, and I didn't think it would affect me as bad as it did. Definitely cost me a couple of reps on the first set, to the point that I decided to lower the weight. I'm using 125 pounds on the dumbbell, and Glenn is using 105. Now, one of the things I want you guys to watch in the set as we go through. First, who do you think does it better? Is one of us cheating? Is one of us doing a little bit less work than the other? Or do we look pretty similar as we're going through this? And do you think that we should use more leg drive? That's something that I've been kind of thinking about. You can see there, I'm using a little bit of drive from the hips, trying not to use my quads at all, but my back does move a little bit. Glenn uses a little bit more of a twist in his back. You can see just the shoulder position at the top of the movement is much higher on him than me. But I think he's cheating me out of reps here. I don't know what exactly he's doing there, but it looked like he decided he didn't need to do as many reps. What do you think was going on, guys? And this is the third set here. So we're both doing the same weight at this point, 105. And Glenn's back is coming back a lot faster than everything else, obviously. But this isn't something that we did a ton of before. And it's pretty neat doing it this way. You're kind of head-to-head, just right next to each other, going at it. But this last set here on the left arm for me and the right arm for Glenn, look what he did. He got up and went over and sat down. What is that? What is that? As always, go lift something heavy. I will be posting some more videos soon. Take it easy.